It is the 31st of December, the last day of 2025, and I'm riding my bicycle over the cold streets of Chico, and I'm going on my bike ride. Oh, I just gotta close my coat here because it is cold, and I don't want to be cold. But I'm well prepared, and I'm gonna put on my gloves. Here we go. Just a second here. I have to fumble here with my gloves and with my phone in my hand. Hold on. Okay, that's one, and then the second one. Then the ride can start. Well, if everything is going according to plan, that is for those few people who are taking me serious. If everything is going according to plan, then in 2026, that is next year, that is tomorrow. No, in 2026 at the 4th of July. So we're still a couple of months away from that. So you still have time. If everything goes according to plan, by that time, you have also talked with yourself. And you have actually recognized already, because you have also read my writings and you've also acknowledged that what I am writing is true, that you are not only talking with yourself as opposed to talking with others. No, you are always talking with yourself. Yeah, there's no other way. There's no other way. There really is no other way. Because once you have acknowledged that the other is merely what you have neurally, verbally behaved the other to be. I'm talking with my wife, for instance, right? Well, how do I talk with my wife? Of course we say these things, right? I believe my wife to be like this, or I believe my friend to be like this. I believe you to be like this or like that. According to me, you're full of shit or something like that. And somebody may say, about his wife or her, like, oh, she's always nagging me. No, my wife, by the way, doesn't do that. But, she has her ways, but she's not always nagging me. Absolutely not. I couldn't live with her if she would. No, we love each other, and she knows me and I know her. And so she's absolutely not nagging me at all. If anything, she's just helping me live my life as good as I can. So, no, but ordinarily people would just say that about their wife. Oh yeah, my wife, she's always bugging me or something like that. People don't get along, they complain to other people about their significant others. You would never hear me complain about my wife because I have a great relationship with my wife and we are so incredibly happy together. So what I'm saying here is we have a way of dealing with each other which works, and that is very much determined and made possible by the way in which I view language. Yes, because I view language as an overt phenomenon. There is no inner language as far as I'm concerned. And so when I talk about the other, whether it's my wife or you, doesn't matter. The other is just my overt verbal behavior. And obviously, how can I have that overt verbal behavior if my nervous system wasn't affected in a certain way previously by circumstances, by meetings, by conversations, by me being with myself and me talking out loud with myself, where I begin to sort of just say to myself, okay, I can talk with myself. Oh, wait a second. When I talk with myself, I can say all kinds of things which I cannot say to others. How can that be? How can it be that I can continuously have the experience that when I talk with myself, I'm able to say things which I cannot seem to be able to say to others, which I cannot seem to get across with others, which others just don't want to get into? How can it be? Well, when I talk out loud with myself, I have embodied language and I listen to myself. And when I talk with others, oh, I was not listening to myself. No. When I was talking with others, I wanted them to listen to me, or they wanted me to listen to them, but nobody was listening to himself. I wasn't listening to myself. So I figured that out, that the other is actually me. The other is how I respond to my perception of the other, my belief of the other, my impression of the other, my experience of the other. That's how I talk with the other. Yeah? And that's how I talk with you. And so, yeah, if you're going to take it serious, what I'm saying, and I hope you do, then in 2026 at the 4th of July, Independence Day, is going to be a great party, because then we will meet and mutually reinforce each other and have embodied language. And then we will align ourselves with the American dream. And this will be a whole new chapter in the American dream, where we will all express our language of individual freedom, our language of self-regulation, our language of our well-being, our language of our intelligence, our language of being totally at ease. Yeah. And so I hope you're gonna do it. I'm already doing it. And that is what today's video is going to be further about. So if you've had enough, you might as well just stop listening now and just go and do something else. But if you want more, then just keep listening, and then you will hear more. Look how beautiful the sky is. It's still kind of foggy, although the fog has cleared. Yeah, it was really foggy this morning. I already went to the sports club this morning, and that's when it was really foggy, but now the fog has already cleared. It's going to be a beautiful day. Here, no trespassing, preserve area. A couple of ducks in the pond there. Yeah, I'm just waiting for to see if there's still something else I want to say. Maybe not, but I'm just rambling. And I like to also ramble. I'm a rambling man. You know, I have a song about that. If you look it up, you can find it maybe. Yeah, I just sang a song which I'm going to record in a little while. When I come back, I will record that song. It was another song which was sang by Willie Nelson, about the preacher man or something like that. And I'm gonna sing that song, but of course I write always my own version to it, because I find these old texts of these songs, I find these texts too boring to sing. I never really sing the original text. I always only sing my own text. By the way, I want to say something about that, because even though I mentioned this guy, this Willie Nelson, I really don't like Willie Nelson at all. And I don't like a lot of people because, you know, these other people, they are not, in my opinion, they're not admirable, they're not lovable, they're not pleasant. They're all representatives of the same. Hello, Happy New Year. Hi. They're all representatives of the same disembodied language, you know. And so I only care about embodied language. I don't care about anyone's disembodied language. And it doesn't matter who it is. And so when I read something, you know, back in the days when I was studying and trying to get my degree in psychology and all that, that was a very serious thing, you know, plagiarism, because you always had to quote these names of these people and their works and make sure that you make all the correct quotation marks and all that kind of stuff. Oh my God, they make such a big deal out of language, but for the wrong reason, in my opinion. Yeah, the reason that supposedly somebody has produced some words and now these words belong to them or something. They were the ones that have said that. They were the ones that have written that. And now, if ever you want to say what they said, you will always have to quote their names. You will always have to refer to their paper, to their book. And I just feel like, what a stupid way of dealing with language that is. Because language does not belong to anybody, just like air does not belong to anybody. No. And so, yeah, if anybody wants to take my language, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and take it. I hope you do, because it isn't mine and it isn't yours, and you cannot take it because it was never mine to begin with, so it cannot be yours either. Language doesn't belong to anybody. Yeah. Just like words in a book or in a dictionary. Do you own part of the dictionary? No. These words have been used by many people, and they're being put together in certain circumstances, in certain ways. And yeah, you know, if I know that the mainstream people, they all have this ideas about property rights and about all kinds of lawsuits about that they are the owner of this song, they are the owner of this what is it, this language. Yeah, they have the property right because they are a company, or they have what is it, they have rights rights to own these words. No, with me and with embodied language, all that nonsense is finished. Nobody has to quote me. Yeah, you may, but you don't need to. I would say, begin to quote yourself. Begin to say to yourself, like, I'm the one who's using this language, and I'm the one who's, even if I quote somebody else, it's still me who's saying it, and it's still me who is writing it, and it's still me who is, I don't know, remembering that other person who is, yeah, reiterating what this other person said. So that should be enough. And I don't need to quote them. I don't need to mention them by name. Just the fact that I say what they said is already enough. Yeah, to sort of validate what they were saying, or to be respectful towards what they were saying. Yeah, I mean, how am I able to use all these words that you hear me talk right now? I have these words because, yeah, these words have somehow become part of my vocabulary. And so, does it come from my father? Does it come from my grandmother? Does it come from my mother? Is it my wife who taught me this? Who my English teacher back in high school? Yeah. I once had an English teacher who I was very fond of. He was a wonderful man. who who tried very hard to make it interesting, his class. And he did make it interesting by sometimes reading pieces from English texts. And he made us listen to him reading these texts. And sometimes he read poems, sometimes he read pieces of prose. And his English was, of course, very good, very British. But it was interesting because on the one hand, he was able to capture everyone's attention with it, and he was creating an interesting atmosphere, because he was the only one that I've ever known as a teacher who did that, and who did that very deliberately and very repeatedly. But he was also laughed about. He was also ridiculed for that. He was also disrespected for that by the students. And I felt sorry for him, because I could see how much he suffered. That people were not catching his, when people were not catching his intent, yeah? I now must tell you the whole story about Mr. Grootscholte was his name. He is a Dutch name. Grootscholte, that is a Dutch name that means something like great school or something like that. Anyways, I do not know if he's still alive. I hope he is. I hope he's well. He was a good man, but he's probably very old or gone by now. But back in the days, he was, he was doing what he did, but he was also often upset about and distraught. I could tell that. And believe it or not, back in the days, everybody was smoking, and he was smoking cigarettes in the class. Can you believe that? That's how it was back in those days. And yeah, I believe he was. No, I'm mixing things up now. No. That was another teacher. That was another teacher. Sorry, I'm mixing it up. No, what he did was, we were smoking cigarettes in the basement of the school where we parked our bicycles, and he was chasing us out because we would have to smoke outside. And I remember how students were getting upset with him about that, because it was raining outside. But anyways, guess what happened? This is a really interesting story, because many years after I had graduated from that particular school, it's kind of like the Dutch equivalent of college. That school was called the Lodewijk Maken-Blijde College. That was a school in Rijswijk near The Hague. And anyways, I had been in this class. Many years had passed. I don't know how many, but I was at some day. It was a very rainy day, and then I was riding my bicycle through a park in the rain, and I was riding my bicycle as fast as I could, because it was pouring rain, and but I was, that's what people do in the Netherlands. They still go on their bicycle. They can still go through the rain. And I went from one place to the next to just be where I wanted to be. I don't know what my business was, but I decided for some reason to cut through the park. There was a big park there, and Overvoorde near Rijswijk, and I rode as fast as I could over these over the path in that park, and all of a sudden I see a man walking in the pouring rain. And I see him from behind because he's at the very end of that path. And I see him from very far away. And I come closer and I just wondered, like, what is going on? Who is walking like this in the rain? That is crazy. He must be getting wet. He must be really something wrong with this man. And I couldn't help but stop and ask this man, like, what's going on? Why are you walking in the rain? And then to my big surprise, I see that it was my former English teacher who was walking in the rain in over 40. And I said, Mr. Grootscholte, what are you doing? You're walking here, you're getting totally soaked. Why are you not home? And then he said, things going really wrong with me and everything is going to shit. Or, he was in really bad shape. And I do not know what was going on with him, but he said, no, I quit teaching and I don't know what to do. And he was just totally torn apart. And I was totally upset and sad for him that he had come into this terrible situation. I said, I love the way you taught English. I just want you to know that. I want you to know that I always enjoyed your classes and you read beautiful stories to us and poems and it wasn't right that students were laughing at you. That wasn't right. I knew that it was getting to you. He said, yeah. And I said, we come on, we go and get a coffee somewhere. You gotta get out of this rain, man. Anyway, we went somewhere, we had a coffee. And we still talked a little bit, but he was kind of shutting down and he was feeling ashamed and I was maybe also trying to help or whatever, I don't know. I was feeling helpless in terms of having anything meaningful to say. I never saw him again after that. But that's the man. Yeah? Not a book, but that's the man who had an impact on me. Yeah? Mr. Grootscholte. Yeah. What a wonderful man. Maybe his family will hear this, or I don't know. You never know how one thing catches another. But what I'm saying here is he touched something about language which was phenomenal. He made us listen to him, but in a way that other people didn't. He was expressing the intonation of these poems in such a way that you would begin to feel something. And these stories, he began to the humor also of some of these stories. He had an incredible sense of humor, but at the same time, I could tell that he had some problems. But yeah, who doesn't? Anyways, I got to talk about Mr. Grootscholte, my old English teacher, because of this idiotic need to always use quotation marks and to use the right references in your papers. And you know what? This is another one of those things, right? Why is it also important? Well, it is also important because it is always about written language, yeah. And nowadays, of course, with all these podcasts and all these people that make videos, oh yeah, now we also have rights with the podcast and we have rights with the videos. Oh yeah, we want to commodify commodify everything. Yeah. And my product, my brand. Yeah. I don't care. I don't have a brand. I don't care about a brand. I don't care about anybody's brand. I don't care about anybody's podcast also, or anybody's, big opinion, yeah, that they are so important with and that everybody's listening to. If you look at my videos, if you look at my writings, you see I have no followers. I have very few prescriptions or descriptions or I don't need anyone to tell me that they love me or to give me, I don't know, likes. I don't care. What I care about is embodied language. And embodied language is the language of oneness. Yeah, and if we have embodied language together, we are talking as one. And yes, you are just talking with yourself, I'm talking with myself, and that's perfectly okay. We will still be talking as one person when we have embodied language together. It's going to be great if you're going to do it. But most likely you're not. And most likely you're going to miss out on it. Most likely you're going to continue with your disembodied language in which you do not listen to yourself while you speak. And yeah, that's what everybody does. That's what we've all been doing. And that's what has created the world as we know it. So, we can create a different world if we have a different way of dealing with language. Yeah, it's up to you to make that switch. Because I cannot do it for you. I couldn't do it for Mr. Grootscholte. I couldn't do it for anybody. I can only do it for myself. And everybody can only do it for himself. So that's what freedom is. That's what responsibility is. And so I hope you're going to do it. And yeah, this is another encouragement. I know I don't give you much to hang on to, but you know what? You don't need anything. You need to just speak with yourself, listen to yourself, and tell yourself what you need to know about yourself. That's it. And yeah, you don't need to believe anybody else. You don't need to believe yourself. If you say what is true, you will hear it. And if you don't hear it, then what you say is not true. Yeah, this is another really interesting aspect about listening to yourself. When you really listen to yourself while you speak, you know that you are listening to yourself. And if you don't know that, if you cannot be sure about that, well then, hello. If you cannot know about that, then you just don't do it. Yeah? So if you cannot say, oh, now I'm listening to myself, if you cannot say that, if you cannot be sure about the fact that you are having embodied language, you're not having it. Yeah? The certainty that comes with embodied language is irrefutable, undeniable, unequivocal. You are simultaneously the speaker and the listener, period. Yeah? So either you get it or you don't. And if you don't, well, then you have all these kind of problems. And that's always the same. That's always what happens. And that's what everybody is having. That's what everybody is used to and what everybody is expecting. But once you have embodied language, all that is over. All that is finished. All that is in the past. Instantaneously. Without any effort, without any exercise. Yeah. So, yeah, it is a skill, and yet you may just all of a sudden slip into it without even realizing it. Yeah. But it happens anyway, because it is our self-nature. How about that? Yeah. We do all these unnatural things with our disembodied language in which we do not listen to ourselves while we speak. We do all these unnatural things, all these mechanical, effortful things, and yet we still are natural human beings. And yeah, if we come to our senses, whenever that happens, yeah, due to some coincidence, due to some environmental positive circumstances, we are still producing embodied language, whether we know it or not, whether we address it or not, whether we are able to talk about it or not. We still occasionally have embodied language without even realizing it. But yeah, when you deliberately, skillfully, repeatedly talk with yourself and listen to yourself, you realize like, wow, so I can always talk like that? Yes, of course. And you've never done that. No. And because you've never done that, you've never used your language correctly. Yeah. So, so are you going to use your language correctly? I hope so. That is what 2026 is all about. Yeah, and that is what the American dream, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is all about. You need to have language to make that happen. Yeah, whether you're American or not, doesn't matter. Yeah, this is it. Yeah, so I hope to talk with you then in 2026. And I'm gonna leave it here for now. Look, these beautiful trees here. That's a nice tree. Yeah, I hope the branch doesn't fall off on my head. Because occasionally I go to the park and I see that these big branches have fallen off these trees, you know. And yeah, if you happen to be underneath there, then that's the end. So I hope that doesn't happen to me. No, I count on it that it doesn't. Yeah. Hey, Happy New Year, and looking forward to talk with you in 2026 after the 4th of July, okay? Bye.